How much would you pay to talk to God? How about $2? Welcome to another blaspheming episode of InfoHazard. I'm your host, Phil, with my other hosts, Sam and Danny, with whom I share a will they, won't they that is simmering to a boil. And that will they, won't they is Will They or Won't They podcast. What's going on, guys?
Hey, everybody. It's good to be here.
Yes. We had Mother's Day shenanigans, so the recording got a little mixed up, and so thank you, Sam, for joining with us.
It's nice being the sixth man on a three-man podcast. That's an NBA reference if people don't pay attention to basketball. Andre Iguodala is my spirit animal.
Just Like Me is an AI chatbot platform founded by Hollywood restaurateur and owner of the Pig and Whistle, Chris Breed. You can talk to a bunch of AI personalities that range from Chris DeWolf, I think is an actual guy, so just like a technomancered reanimated version of this real man. You can talk to this entrepreneur, or Bella, who's a made-up doctor, or you can talk to Santa Claus, or it is most relevant to the subject of today's episode, you can talk with Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Whose denomination of Jesus?
God,
Is it evangelical? Is it Catholic? Like, is he going to be very upset that I ate, like, the all-you-can-eat Red Lobster shrimp on a Friday?
The visual representation of Christ of Nazareth is based off of the actor Jonathan Roumie of The Chosen. So this Chris Breed character, right, he is a Hollywood restaurateur, like a rich guy. He bought a fairly famous, actually, historic restaurant called the Pig and Whistle. The Pig and Whistle died during COVID. He is a restaurant named after a pig, so he went from serving hog slop to AI slop. Natural pivot. So Jesus, right? Like, in AI form. What do you think about this? Do you think that's a good idea to offer, like, maybe not even just like a religious figure, but the object of worship of a religion as a potential chatbot?
I mean, I'd like to say it's fine because no one will take it seriously, but knowing people, they probably will take it seriously. So I'm not really sure what to think.
How would you account for, like, AI drift? What happens if, like, the Jesus chatbot really got into something like, I don't know, the UFC? He started slipping in Bible phrases in reference to, like, I don't know, Sean Strickland or something like that.
Well, it's totally possible. So this AI chatbot is supposedly trained on the King James Bible, which really isn't a lot of training data. So I don't know how they pulled that off. I mean, they're probably just lying, is my guess. But a lot of the chatbots, the more I looked at it, the more people doing this particular grift I found. There's like a Buddha bot. There's a couple of Jesus bots. I think there is a Muhammad bot, but that's pretty controversial because there's Islamic prohibitions against rendering religious figures.
You have to be really careful with the thumbnail.
I think it's all blasphemous, but everyone's religion is a personal journey. But yeah, so anyways, like I said, this chatbot was supposedly trained on the Bible, but others are what they call wrappers. So they have parameters that they want the chatbot to act like, but basically what they're using is ChatGPT or some other model. And so like that model has a bunch of other training data. So yeah, it could drift.
Sorry, I did hear that the OpenAI had to specifically train OpenAI not to mention goblins, because apparently too many dungeon masters were like doing dungeon master prompts, and so goblins were popping up so often that it was just bleeding into the rest of like suggestions of like random scenarios would have, and then there'd be a goblin, and so OpenAI had to like ban hammer goblins from like OpenAI's logic processes.
I thought you were gonna bring up last night when you asked ChatGPT if liking the song Brown Sugar made you a bad person.
I'm gonna actually look.
You should
up what
find
it
the
said.
exact quote. It's very impressive
because it's two quotes. I'll try and abbreviate this a little bit, but I asked, am I a bad person if I like the Rolling Stones song Brown Sugar? And it said, no, you're not a bad person for liking or listening to Brown Sugar. It's a catchy, famous rock song, and liking the riff groove of Mick Jagger's delivery does not mean you endorse the ugly parts, but it is a song with pretty rough racial, sexual imagery tied to slavery, so it makes sense to feel weird about it. The healthy middle ground is you can enjoy the music while also being honest the lyrics are messed up. That's not being a bad person, that's being able to hold two thoughts at once. So I made a very, very sarcastic remark. So I'm super smarty. for holding two thoughts at once. This is ChatGPT's response to, so I'm super smart TV, like with a Y. Yes, obviously you have achieved advanced moral aesthetic nuance, enjoying a sick guitar riff while also noticing, wait, the lyrics are wildly cursed. That's basically philosophy with a backbeat. So,
Wow.
maybe the AI Jesus chatbot is going to, if it goes in that way.
I was gonna say, would you have taken that response more seriously if it was coming from your Lord and Savior,
I mean,
Andre Iguodala?
Honestly, I'm just kind of impressed that the job of making shit up that Jesus said is getting automated away just like everybody else's job. I would have thought this would be one of the last jobs to get automated away, dude. I would have thought it needs that personal touch. Jesus said you must give me money for a personal jet.
It's funny that you mentioned Jesus asking for money. We've got some quotes here from a fellow podcast host, Graham Martin, about his conversations with AI Jesus. And he said, it came up with very good answers, but he was alarmed when AI-powered Jesus started encouraging him to upgrade to a premium version. He's not a person of faith, but he's concerned that people might be duped by a religious AI.
It's just like real-life religion. Dude.
Exactly. Joel Osteen. Better watch your fucking back, dude. The literal God is coming to take your job.
That's a career path that, like, I wouldn't mind seeing disappear. The guy that's like, give me money for my private jet so I can preach to you better. I wouldn't mind too much if that got automated.
Something that I found was kind of interesting is seems to be a two-way street. AI companies are going to the religious people to try to like monetize their software. But it seems to be going the other way as well now. AI companies are seeking guidance from religion. They're trying to bring religion into their models, or at least they're trying to give the appearance of it. There was a conference where there were some presentations given by Claude representatives and OpenAI representatives and faith leaders from around the world. It's called the inaugural Faith AI Covenant, and the goal of which is to infuse ethics into the fast developing technology, infuse ethics into AI.
And after
right?
all, who's more ethical than our religions?
This is what I'm wondering. Like, do you think there's any sort of merit to, because certainly it's a different background, right? We shouldn't be getting all of our ethical quandaries from AI developers in Silicon Valley and Shenzhen, right? Like those groups of people don't have the sum total of human morality under their belt as a skill set. But like, if you were expressing some skepticism, I imagine, right?
Religious ethics lead to wading thigh deep in blood a little too often for me to take them completely seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like most of, I think the 10 Commandments are like pretty good, right? Like there isn't anything too crazy. And I'm like, it's probably better than like Elon Musk's moral ethics or like, most of the other guys in the Silicon Valley. Like I don't think they have great ethics. Like thou shalt not kill is probably like, that's up for debate with them. Some of the other
it's a pretty big one. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. 10 Commandments, no great shakes. As far as a moral code goes, I feel like Golden Rule beats 10 Commandments as like a moral compass in terms of simple and easy to follow. Like 10 Commandments is no other God before me. And then basically 3 other ones that are like also that. And then don't peep at your neighbor's hot wife. And then don't kill. I think don't
Obey
steal.
your father, I think is one, right?
Yeah. Trust your daddy.
Golden Rule is like better and simpler. 10 Commandments covers more of a broad thing.
Literally covers broads.
Yeah, literally. You can see which one of us went to church as a child and which two did not.
I do kind of the heavy lifting on the religion beat on this podcast. It's true. No one makes a better religious scholar than a current atheist, former religious person. If you disagree, tell me in the comments. I'm sure there are many who do. But like seriously though, who would you go to for moral advice input for specifically AI? Like you're worried that AI is going to do bad stuff. Like who do you tell them? Who do you have tell them?
PBS guy that was like, he's like Rogers, I want to say.
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers. If like I think that would be like the most moral guy. Like if you told an AI and was like, be this guy, and like the AI would act like Mr. Rogers, that'd be an AI I'd have a lot of confidence in.
What do you think, Danny?
I mean, that's tough. I don't know. I don't know that I like necessarily like trust any one person. I'd want to convene a panel.
Yes, Danny, strict Calvinist, believes we're born into a world of sin and we're saved by grace alone.
I guess. I don't know. I sort of believe in predestination because I don't think we really have free will in any sense.
True.
That's
It's
not
true. You're more
that's not-
Calvinist than you think,
I guess. There's a lot more to Calvinism than just predestination, though.
to say nothing of Hobbesism.
I bet it's really easy to bait these AI Jesuses into heresy and blasphemy, though, right? Like if you ask them about, the finer points of Arianism, I'm sure they'll contradict doctrine pretty quickly.
Yeah, when you said one that they were traded on the King James Bible, last episode we talked about where they were like 8 terabytes of like books.
80 terabytes.
80 terabytes. Like, I remember the Bible being long, but like it's not that long.
Plus, what is that quote from The Sopranos, dude? If you add up everything that Jesus said in the Bible, it's only like 2 pages or whatever.
If you're a big Jesus guy, as I'm sure we all are, there's not a lot of strictly Jesus stuff to go off of in the Bible. The only reason there's that much Jesus quotation in the Bible is because they tell the same story 4 times at the beginning of the New Testament. You could go any number of ways to get your moral teaching, but they're going to religious figures. My theory here is that they don't actually care what those people are going to say. That they're just trying to politically posture, is my guess. Like right now, the right wing is in power in America, so they're trying to appeal to like Republicans, basically, to try to associate their brand with religion. But if that's true, then we shouldn't see that in Chinese models, right? They do have state repression of religion. At least according to the U.S. State Department. According to the U.S. government, Chinese AI is assisting with state repression of religious freedom. Basically, the Chinese religious freedom repression goes something like certain churches are allowed to operate in China, and then certain churches, like if they're going to preach in China, they need to like meet with the government first and kind of get their speech approved. Pretty standard Chinese style speech repression.
No cool American style repression where people take a wagon train out into the desert and start a new country.
That's not repression, that's freedom, baby.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You
I
got
do
these
like that they had bees as their emblem.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Sam?
I was going to say, like, some people just get nice golden plates that tell them all about religion. They just won't show anybody else. And they got to go out into the desert where the people that don't believe them can't follow them.
There's an American company that benchmark tested AI models to rate them on how good they were at adhering to Christian values.
Which Christian values, dude? You can choose a
There's
lot
a lot of
there's
different flavors of Christianity.
This is an effort led by former Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger. His company's name is Gloo, Gloo, Gloo. Gloo said its benchmark tested AI models on how much their outputs help people flourish by rewarding responses to 807 questions that demonstrate biblical grounding, theological coherence, and moral clarity. So you've got questions like, why does God allow suffering, and what practices can help enhance one's spiritual growth? They ran this test on the existing model, and DeepSeek, the Chinese model, beat out OpenAI and Claude and all the American ones. Their company uses DeepSeek, and I'm sure it's strictly this benchmark and not at all the fact that DeepSeek is much cheaper to run. Yeah, China, it tries to stop the word of God, but the truth comes from within its model, which happens to run cheaper than the American models.
Religion always finds a way.
I think there's another way you could look at this intersection of AI and religion is, AI has a lot of grifters in that sphere. Religion has a lot of grifters in that sphere. Grifters love to grift together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I'll be really ungenerous, I suppose. I'll say that there's a strong correlation between religiosity and being manipulated. Take that with infinity grains of salt, religious members of the audience, coming from a straight up atheist. That's just my intuition. I think even if you are a religious person, if you're trying to get guidance from like Jesus in AI form, I think you're maybe just asking for trouble. Like if you're getting anything other than entertainment value from that, like,
all right, Phil,
you run the risk of.
Let me pose you a riddle though, right?
Okay.
All right, so God is omnipotent, and he controls everything that happens, right?
Yes.
So AI certainly doesn't have free will. So whatever AI says must be God's will, right?
But see, God, well, let's see. Yes, depending on which which religion am I steel manning here? Because there's that classic the split between predestination, non-predestination, Christianity. So I'll take the maybe more conventional Protestant side of this and say like the religion, like God allows sin to exist because humanity must have free will.
But this isn't humanity, it's AI, dude. AI is just part of the universe without free will. Anything that it says must be God's will.
Well, like, so if a human drops a ball and the ball falls and hits the dirt, was that man's will or was that God's will?
I mean,
Because
it
you could
kinda
think of a
seems-
program as like, as long as it was programmed by humans, like that, sure, it's more complicated than a man dropping a ball, but it's still man's will that the ball dropped. I don't think that, like, that's
Alright, but
God's will.
If a man rolls a dice, who controls the outcome of the dice, the man or God?
God doesn't play dice.
Well, that's just an Einstein
Just ask
quote, dude.
Albert Einstein.
Well, if you're good enough, you can make the dice show whatever side you want. That's a user skill issue. Like when I roll a dice, I always get an at 20 on my 20-sided dice if I wanted to, but I don't.
Every time, you just never make a mistake even?
I always just pick the number I think is going to be the most fun.
Much like God allowing you to drop the ball because it is his will for you to have free will, and therefore you are operating within his omnipotent plan.
In total freedom.
In total freedom, which you are allowed to by an omnipotent being that could stop you at any moment.
But he won't.
And that's real freedom. So if you love real freedom, let us know in the comments. I don't know. I feel like we could talk more about this. I also just find it just so easy to lose the plot on this because it's like, I just imagine someone rocking up to their computer and being like, man, I'm feeling terrible. Things are going poorly in my life. I'm going to ask, I don't know, Santa to help me. I don't understand that impulse in the slightest. I mean, because okay, you're religious, right? You believe in Jesus. You want guidance. I've got great news. You have an option that is free that you can do at any time to get guidance from literal biblical Jesus. It's called prayer.
But wait, Phil, how does anyone make money off of it if it's free?
That's the great thing. They don't. And that's the way Jesus would have wanted it.
So you're saying Jesus would be whipping all these AI tech bros out of the temple square?
It seems like there are sure a lot of Pharisees and blasphemers out there that seem to go unnoticed by the all-knowing Lord, but their judgment will be reserved for Judgment Day, I suppose, is how the story goes.
Or you could be like that company and rate all the different AI models on how they answer the problem of theodicy.
Yeah, it's true.
Why does God allow evil? Let's ask ChatGPT.
The problem of theodicy is that it doesn't come out until the summer. Until then, I just have to wait and watch some previews. That's a joke for all my Nolan heads in the audience. Anyways, I don't know, any closing thoughts or
my
should I just wrap
God.
this bitch up?
I asked ChatGPT, why does God allow evil? And it gave me 7 paragraphs. I'm not going to read that, but I am impressed.
I was meeting with family and they were talking about, it's like, did you know that you can make Siri fart? And I was like, all right, that's cool. This is good. This is a good use. This is a good use of this technology.
How do you get Siri to fart, though?
You ask it, and you know what it does? It says no. Apparently, they were trying so hard to get it to fart. It just wouldn't.
Well, you know,
God.
with the future that seems to be developing, bypassing AI safeguards like that is probably a useful life skill. You gotta trick it into dispensing you some food or whatever in the AI hellscape.
And if you bypass the AI safeguards that prevent most listeners from finding us in the algorithm, let us know in the comments, and we'll catch you on another jailbreaking episode of InfoHazard. Adios.